The air inside London's massive stadium is thick with anticipation, a heavy, electric pressure that seems to vibrate right through the concrete floors before the first note even sounds. For hours, tens of thousands of voices have merged into a singular, low hum of collective heartbeat, a gathering storm of devotion that has traveled from every corner of the world just to witness this exact, fleeting sliver of time. Night one had been a beautiful blur of mutual tears and soaring choruses, but tonight feels different, heavier, charged with a raw, almost feral determination that hangs in the humid air between the stage and the barricades. There is a specific kind of magic that happens on the second night of a historic tour stop, a moment where the initial shock of arrival has melted away, leaving behind a desperate, beautiful hunger to leave absolutely everything on that stage. As the stadium lights suddenly plunge into an consuming, velvet darkness, a deafening roar tears through the arena, a primal sound of release that shakes the very foundations of the venue and signals that the boundary between reality and the spectacle is about to completely shatter. Out of the darkness, a heavy, distorted bass line begins to thud against chests like a physical blow, a rhythmic warning that something monumental is arriving. When the blinding, stark white stage lights fracture the shadows, they reveal 7 silhouettes standing frozen in a formation that feels less like a dance setup and more like a battle line. The roar of the crowd peaks into an impossible frequency, but on the faces of the men under the glare, there is no smile, no gentle wave of greeting, only an intense, unyielding focus that has been forged through years of relentless scrutiny and impossible expectations. This is the moment where the global pop phenomenon strips away the glitter and the gentleness to expose the fierce, unshakable core of hip-hop that defined their earliest, most desperate days. Looking into their eyes through the massive stadium screens, you can see the ghosts of every doubt ever cast upon them, every dismissive headline, and every door shut in their faces during the climb, all of it gathered and concentrated into a singular, explosive reservoir of energy that is about to be unleashed on London. The track drops with a savage, uncompromising clarity, and suddenly the stage becomes an arena of beautifully synchronized chaos where every movement carries the weight of a statement. They move not just with precision, but with a fierce, deliberate aggression, their bodies snapping into the hard-hitting choreography with a force that feels almost dangerous. It is a masterclass in controlled fury, a performance that demands you look away from nothing, capturing the audience in a trance where the outside world completely ceases to exist. There is a breathless, addictive quality to the way the verses trade off, bouncing from one member to the next with a fluid, lethal confidence that makes the massive stadium feel as intimate and dangerous as an underground club. Every lyric spit into the microphone feels like a physical brick being laid in a fortress of undeniable legacy, an emotional reclamation of their own narrative delivered with the kind of swagger that can only be earned through surviving the highest stakes imaginable. As the performance builds toward its chaotic peak, the emotional tension between the stage and the audience reaches a fever pitch where the music seems to transcend language altogether. The crowd isn't just watching a show, they are actively participating in a ritual of defiance, screaming back the anthemic refrains with a desperate loyalty that echoes off the stadium roof like thunder. You can see the sweat glistening under the harsh red and blue strobe lights, dripping from their brows as they push their bodies past the point of exhaustion, fueled entirely by the communal euphoria bleeding from the floor. There is a moment amidst the dizzying spins and sharp, percussive footwork where the sheer scale of what these 7 men from South Korea have accomplished in the heart of the United Kingdom hits with the force of a tidal wave. It is written in the fierce pride of their expressions and the way they hold the gaze of the camera, a silent acknowledgement that they have not just entered the global stage, but have completely rewritten its rules on their own terms. When the final, earth-shattering beat echoes through the space, the music abruptly cuts out, leaving only the sound of heavy, ragged breathing in the chaotic, roaring ocean of the crowd. The 7 figures stand perfectly still in the center of the blinding white light, chests heaving, completely drenched in the physical toll of what they have just given away. The silence within the song is more powerful than the loudest bass line, a breathless suspension of time where the world holds its breath to see the final gesture. Slowly, deliberately, the microphone is lifted high into the air, suspended for an agonizing second above the stage as if challenging anyone to question the height they have reached. When it falls, clattering mutely against the stage floor, it is not just the end of a song, but an absolute, unanswerable period at the end of a sentence. In the lingering echo of that final drop, as the stage slowly fades back into darkness, the overwhelming eruption of the stadium confirms that some legacies are so powerful they don't need to explain themselves. They simply conquer, leave the microphone on the floor, and walk away into the lights. The echo of the dropped microphone reverberates through the deep spaces of the stadium like a physical shockwave, leaving an aching, beautiful void that the audience rushes to fill with an overwhelming wall of sound. In that split second of complete silence before the roar returns, the sheer gravity of what has just unfolded on the London stage settles over the arena like a heavy fog. It is the realization that this was never just a performance of a hit song, it was an act of emotional warfare, a brilliant, exhausting demonstration of survival played out in front of tens of thousands of witnesses. The darkness that swallows the stage immediately after the drop does nothing to dim the lingering image of their defiance, an image burned into the retinas of everyone watching. In the shadows, you can hear the faint, ragged gasps of air from 7 men who have just poured the entirety of their youth, their anger, and their triumph into a 4-minute masterpiece of pure adrenaline, proving that even at the absolute peak of global stardom, the hunger that drove them from the very beginning remains completely unbroken. As the ambient stadium lights slowly begin to pulse back to life, casting a warm, ethereal glow over the sea of uplifted faces, the emotional transition in the room is palpable, shifting from the sharp edge of aggression to a profound, communal awe. Looking closely at the stage through the fading smoke and the lingering haze of the pyrotechnics, the physical toll of the performance becomes starkly visible in the way they slowly break formation. Their shoulders rise and fall with an intense, heavy rhythm, their clothes soaked through with the sweat of an unforgiving choreography that demands total physical surrender. Yet, as they look out into the cascading tears of the arena, the fierce, defensive masks they wore during the song begin to melt away, replaced by raw, overwhelming vulnerability. There is an unspoken language passing between the stage and the crowd in these quiet intervals, a deep, unbreakable connection forged over years of shared struggles and impossible victories that requires no translation, no grand speeches, only the quiet, heavy realization that they are living through history together. This second night in London feels less like a traditional concert and more like a monumental closing of a chapter, a distinct moment where the past and the future collide in a spectacular display of artistic maturity. Every glance exchanged between the members in the aftermath of the track carries the weight of memories from a time when stages of this size were nothing more than a distant, mock dream in a cramped practice room half a world away. To see them stand now in the heart of the United Kingdom, commanding the absolute devotion of a stadium that shakes with every breath they take, is to witness a profound poetic justice. The lingering tension in the air is sweet, thick with the mutual gratitude of an audience that refuses to stop screaming and a group that refuses to take a single second of this reality for granted. It is this specific, addictive emotional depth that keeps eyes locked onto the stage, a collective refusal from everyone in the building to let this night end, holding onto the fading vibrations of the music as if they could somehow freeze time itself.